Hi, guys. Welcome to Mary J's Reading Corner. I'm your host, Mary J. All right, so let's get into today's episode, which is going to be Daily Offers by Alexa Grace. Now, if you haven't read Daily Offerings by Alexa Grace, I would suggest you pause the podcast, go read or listen to it, because spoiler alert is in effect. So, Daily Offerings is about a woman named Ann Mason who starts a new life at Golden Acres Farm, and she soon discovers it's not as safe as she thought it was. Now, the main characters are Ann Mason and Michael Brandt. Now, the thing about Ann Mason is she's very independent and used to doing everything on her own, not dependent on anybody for help or anything, which is okay. But when her life is threatened, I feel like she really should try to lean more on the people who are there to try to help her and support her. Also, Michael Brandt's character now, he's very, protective and overbearing. Now, my favorite side characters would have to be Daisy and Frankie. Now, I love Daisy because she's just such an angel and so caring and nurturing. And I just love how when the sheriff tries to label Anne as a suspect and treat her that way, Daisy goes into strict mama bear mode and is very protective of Anne. And I love it. Now, Frankie, I love Frankie. Her independent driven, her career driven and independency is so awesome to me because she's at that level in her career where she's regarded as a professional, and I just love it. Now, now my least favorite character is the sheriff. Now I know he's trying to do his job and try to get to the bottom of who's leaving dead bodies on Golden Acres Farm and try to put them behind bars and bring closure to the families who lost loved ones. But at the same time, the way he treats Anne just makes my blood boil. How he just treats her like a criminal and just questions her aggressively like it was her who did it, when in actuality, he was dead wrong. And I just don't like how, as he progresses, he just continues to try to blame her and try to paint her as a suspect until they get the evidence that they need to suggest otherwise. Which, I mean, I understand you're only doing your job. You're supposed to treat everybody as a suspect. But at the same time, it got to a point to where he should have realized, okay, now I see that she's not a suspect. So these are just some of the things that I disliked about some of the characters or some of the developments that happened. Now, it's not to say I don't like the book because I really did love the story and how it all came together. But these are just a few of my opinions of what I disliked. So, like I said, I didn't like how the sheriff treated Anne as a suspect, even once he got concrete evidence that it wasn't her. Which I was just like, how can you be so stupid once you have the evidence staring you in the face? And another thing that I didn't like was, how did Frankie miss her target when she was excellent marksmanship? Like, how does that even happen? She has excellent skill. Like, she's skilled, highly trained, and highly skilled. How do you miss your mark when you're that good or claim to be that good? Which, I mean, there could have been a lot of factors. He could have been zigzagging. It could have been really dark where you really couldn't see him. But like I said, it just kind of bugged me how she wasn't able to make how she missed the target. Even also, what made me mad was how she let him get the drop on her, and she's highly trained, but she let him get the drop on her. How? Also, as much as I love how protective Michael is of Anne, I just don't like his overbearing. Like he's just trying too hard. Which, I mean, yes, she's very, independent and doesn't want help, but at the same time, it's like he's kind of going about it the wrong way when he could have took another approach to the whole situation. But that's just my opinion about that. Also, another thing that I thought was crazy was how Ab was kidnapped. The guy pretended to be a federal agent and was in a building full of cops and lawyers and everything. Like, how does that even work? Like, you just believe that he was an FBI agent without checking his credentials or anything, and you just let him waltz out with the victim? Wow. And I know Michael, once he discovered that they just headed her over to the killer, he went after her to go save her. But that all could have been avoided had his assistant prosecutor checked the supposed FBI agent's credentials. Then they probably could have caught the killer red-handed, and they wouldn't have had to really go through all that trouble. Now, another thing I didn't like was the killer's motive was kind of ridiculous. I mean, yes, he did get fired, and he did have some other bad events happen, like his wife left him and took their kid. His grandmother did pass away. He lost his house. Everything just started falling apart from there, which eventually made him snap. But at the same time, logically, I'm like, that still doesn't give you like a just cause for killing people just because you lost your job. But like I said, people do snap. You know, everybody handles things differently. But I just thought that was just crazy how he just justified it by saying, well, when I lost my job, everything, all this stuff started happening, and it's y'all fault. Da, 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 da. So yeah, I can see how he would snap, but like I said, it just logically it was just ridiculous that he would even consider justifying it because he got fired. Now, what I loved about this book was one was how straightforward Michael was about pursuing a relationship with Anne. Like, he was no nonsense, no BS. He was just like, look, I like you. Let's, try to see how this goes, how this works out, which I do like. And I also like the fact that Anne, in the beginning, Anne's friends encourage her, after her marriage failed, they encourage her to get back out there. She can find true love. Her heart will be healed and all that. Every girl needs good girlfriends like that who are encouraging you and emotionally and physically encouraging you, like, you got this, you'll be okay. And I also do like how independent Anne is, like, trying to do things on her own and not rely on anybody, which I do love about her. I do like that about her, that she's very independent and driven, even though she does need to sometimes lean on other people for support, which is nothing wrong with that. And also, I do like how Michael basically he he gives up his career pretty much for the woman that he loves, and I'm just in awe of that because not many people would do that. Give up your career or whatever for someone that you love just to be with that person. I'm not saying that, he would give up on his career or dreams or anything. What he did was he just chose to put Anne first and his love for her first instead of trying to make a name for himself in his career. Which means he's not completely giving up on his career. He was just at the point where he was like, he really loved Anne and he would do anything for her. And I really did like that about him. Well, guys, that was it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.